I used to be about 50 pounds heavier. And my wife told me, she said, I'm getting a little bit more than I bargained for, and I would like to see a little less of you.
Yeah.
But she was more worried about a heart attack, not living longer, different things that could hurt me,
Yeah.
my cholesterol, all that type of stuff. And she fed that into my head that made me fearful for my health and pushed me to start and do a weight loss program.
Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that have shaped their lives, inviting us all to reflect and grow together. Today we're joined by Bart Merrell, an intentional entrepreneur and author who has been turning opportunities into success since childhood. With a spirit of adventure and a knack for monetizing knowledge, Bart believes that financial security is within reach for everyone, no matter the circumstances. Let's dive into Bart's journey and discover the quote that has inspired him along the way. Tell us your name and what your favorite quote is.
What's my what?
Tell us your name and what is your favorite quote.
What is my favorite
Yeah.
quote? So my name is Bart Merrell. I'm the side hustle
Okay.
samurai. Oh, so a favorite quote is one that I heard somewhere, but I've searched to see who said it, and I can't find who said it. But it goes like this: let your fears push you until your dreams pull you.
Ooh. Let us sink in.
Let your fears push you until your dreams pull you.
Wow. How long have you known this quote?
Probably 5 or 6 years.
Wow. Let your fears push
Like I said, I can't remember where I heard it, but so I'll take credit.
Okay. I think when I was very young, I would read quotes and I would see once they write the quotes at the bottom they'll put anonymous. I was like, wow. And then I would read a lot of quotes, I would see anonymous. I was like, wow, this guy called anonymous. The guy, he has a lot of quotes. So the guy used to drop a lot of brilliant quotes. It was later I didn't realize that, oh, anonymous is not the name of a person. It's just that they can't trace who said the quote. I was like, oh, yeah. Wow.
Exactly.
So when
Yeah.
you say let your fears push you and your dreams pull you, what does that mean? Can you give us a concrete explanation of the quote?
So I'm sure you've heard quotes. I believe it's by Simon Sinek that talks about if you find your why, you'll be able to find the how and the what.
Yeah.
But what if you can't find your why?
Ooh.
And you can't find the how and the what. So let your fears push you. I'll give you an example that has to do with weight loss. I used to be about 50 pounds heavier. And my wife told me, she said, I'm getting a little bit more than I bargained for, and I would like to see a little less of you.
Yeah.
But she was more worried about a heart attack, not living longer, different things that could hurt me,
Yeah.
my cholesterol, all that type of stuff. And she fed that into my head that made me fearful for my health and pushed me to start and do a weight loss program. Then the program is a 10-day cleanse, and it's designed to help you lose a lot of weight in 10 days. I did my first 10-day cleanse. I lost 18 and a half pounds. That excited me. And so now the dream that I could do it, that I could get down to a weight that I wanted, that dream pulled me to do another cleanse and another cleanse and another cleanse, to where I did 4 cleanses in 2 months and 5 days, and I lost 50
Wow.
pounds. And so in the beginning, it was the fears that pushed me. In the end, it was the dream that pulled me. The dream that I could get there, the realization that I could get there. There's many people that I know that financially they struggle until their back is pushed against the wall, and that's when they start to do the actions, the needed actions to get better and to get out there. And that fear of, oh no, I'm going to be homeless, oh no, I'm going to lose my house, I'm going to lose my car, caused them to take action.
Yeah.
Once they took action, they started to see the success and the success and the success, to where now they had a dream, oh, I can do it. And it caused them to be very successful because their back was against the wall, because they were in despair. I would like to help people do that before they get in despair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because nobody wants to be with your back against the wall. Nobody wants to be in that situation where they're almost homeless. So, what if we can do it before we get there
Yeah.
by telling our mind, thinking about, okay, what's going to happen if you don't do it?
Yeah. I,
So let's go back to the weight loss. What's going to happen if I don't do it? I could die. I could have a heart attack. I could get in a wheelchair. There's many things that could happen if I didn't get my health under control. That pushed me to do something before I had the heart attack. If I have the heart attack and then I get motivated, I already had the heart attack.
yeah.
So let's do it before.
Yeah. I think it's the concept of anti-vision. Usually, there's this idea that people tell you, oh, you have to be passionate. And of course, it's very important. But sometimes you have to use what you have. Like if what you have is the hatred that I will never be poor. I've seen what it means to not afford one meal a day. I've seen what it means to wake up this day and not know where the next meal is going to come from. I know that feeling. And so you want to like crystallize that image such that you can use that to fuel you into working and use what you have.
Yes.
If that's what you have, use it. And if the passion, the dream is more compelling such that it's so clear, even stronger than the fear, then use that. But as much as possible, you just use what you have. Wow. Thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah, I think it's what our human body was created for, our kind of our psyche, our soul. We've been back in caveman days, and a guy named Hal Elrod shared this on one of his podcasts probably 5 or 6 years ago as well, talking about how back in caveman days they would go out and kill their animal, their food, the big mammoth or whatever it was. They would drag it home and they would eat on it for months until the meat was gone, or weeks or days or whatever it was. And then the meat would start to run out. And that's when he didn't get motivated to move until there was a necessity. The meat and his wife, Mrs. Grok, let's call her. She comes in and says, "Honey, food's about gone. Get your butt out there and find us some more."
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay." Then he went and got motivated, and he would come back, but then he wouldn't get motivated until things got dire again. And so that's kind of the way our DNA has been ingrained in us for thousands of years. And if we could use that same theory without having to get in that need, that anti-vision like you're talking about, and just say, okay, what's going to happen if I don't?
Yeah. And that's the strange thing about people saying that comfort is the killer of goods, because when you're comfortable there's no hunger, there's nothing. You wake up, there's 3 square meal, it's there, everything you want, it's there. There's no hunger. But sometimes just a little hunger, a little, sometimes you just need to be in a state where if you have everything figured out, it's not the life you want, but it's not hard enough, it's not terrible enough that you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, what must I do to change my life? Like it's not it's
Yeah.
it's good enough for you to just be mediocre, to be average, to be like everyone else. And
Yeah.
that for me, it's, I think, earlier we talked about fear. And fear, it comes from, probably from us as biological beings, that we want to preserve ourselves. Like, we're afraid to get hurt. We're afraid that when we see strangers, we're afraid that, oh, the strangers are going to attack us, like, biologically. But of course strangers are not going to attack us. But we these things are there. But then when everything is okay, we have food, we have shelter, we have clothing, all those things. We have a mate, and all those biological, physiological, and psychological needs are met. Then usually what happens is that there is no hunger to say, okay, I have not eaten. I need to be able to take care of my bees. I need to be able to eat good food. It's not there, and sometimes it can be our own cause instead of a blessing.
Yeah. So what happened to me? So I help people create financial security by monetizing the things that they already know and
Wow.
do. So help them find their ideal side hustle. And how this came about is my wife is Japanese, and she went to Japan. She goes home to visit her family and stuff. And while she's there, she gets her health checks done. And she called me from Japan and calmly told me that the initial test indicated that she had cancer. And so my brother died of cancer at age 53. I have two sisters that died of cancer at age 62. So you can imagine my mind was racing. I could lose my wife. But you know what my second thought was? We can't afford this. How am I going to be able to drop everything and be by her side as she goes through whatever it is she's going to have to go through? And so I decided then that multiple streams of income is key. And I started, my head just kept going and going. How can I monetize this? How can I monetize that? How can I, and I just thought about, what do I like to do? What do I need to do? What am I already doing? Can I monetize one, two, maybe even three of those things? So my theory, my idea, my training was born out of fear. Now, luckily for us, so after 8 sleepless nights, the biopsy came back and it was negative for cancer. So we were lucky.
Yeah.
We got a wake up call. But why do we need to wait for a wake up call to get prepared for when life happens? Because life is going to happen. So start when you're comfortable. That way you don't have to go through that. Okay, so fast forward 15 years later, last year, I had to have my lower left leg amputated. So I had to have my leg cut off. The fact that I had been prepared by my wife's cancer scare, once again, I'm scared to death because I'm going to have my leg cut off. How bad's it going to hurt? How long am I going to be without work? One of my incomes is training dogs. And so training dogs requires 2 legs. How long am I going to be off work? But I had multiple streams of income that relieved some of that pressure. And so, yes, I was still worried because I didn't know how long it was going to be. I didn't know what was going to happen. Luckily, I was able to start training dogs 4 months later. And so I was able to get back on my feet and get going in 4 months. What if that had been a year? What if that had been 18 months? Would I have been able to survive? I don't know. I think I would have. But the fact that I had multiple streams coming in that weren't the big stream of training dogs, but I had streams to help supplement my income so that I could go through and just worry about getting better. Worry about my health and getting back on my feet. So it's you need to get prepared now for when life happens. And that's what I talk to people about, and what I help them find income streams that are right there in their own backyard, right there within their grass, right there under their nose.
Yeah.
Just right there.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you can be prepared for when life happens.
Yeah. I think
once again,
one of
we go back to my original quote.
Yeah.
Let your fears push you until your dreams can pull you.
Yeah. Because at the beginning, when you're starting, you don't even know what you should be going towards, but you know that this life is not the life I want. Nah, this status, this place I am right now, this is not how I want my life to be. But you don't know what the place is, but you know that definitely not this. And so it takes some time. Then you start to figure out, oh, this is what I want really looks like, and then at that point in time, you can start moving towards that. But until then, you have to just allow that hit for that situation, for that kind of life, for the ability to not have the choice. Because one of the things of not being financially free and financially stable is that you don't have freedom. You're not free because you don't have choice. You don't have choice, right? I mean, you gave the perfect story and the perfect example. If something was to come up, you can't choose, right? Even if you're like, oh, this is what I really wanted to do, like you don't have. They say, okay, let's do this. You can't. I mean, you could choose it in your mind, but you don't have the capacity to activate the choice.
Yeah. And you've heard the quote, money isn't everything, right?
Yeah.
Have you heard that before? Yeah. Well, let's look at it this way. Money isn't everything, or is it? When you don't have any, or you don't have enough. That's what happened to me when my wife called me and said she might have cancer. I was worried that we didn't have enough. And let's say she did have cancer and I was a millionaire. That still may not be enough to save her
So at least you
life.
have options.
Steve Jobs died of cancer. He had all the money that any man could need. It didn't save his life. But what it did is it gave him options for more comfort as he passed on to the next life. So the money gives you options, like you're saying. You when you're not financially free, you can't say, "Oh, I'm going to go do this whenever you want."
I mean,
It has to.
other than the example you're giving is like, men and women that are like, advanced. What about, let's look at the example of a man who just got married to the wife, and then the kids are maybe 3, 4, 5 years old. Now, what happens if the man was to, like, you know something terrible was to happen? What would happen? Now the wife has become a widow. Now the children will start suffering, and try, they launched into a place where, they start suffering. And of course, nobody plans for such a terrible thing to happen, but life happens. Things like that happen, and then the kids get to suffer because the father who was the breadwinner is no longer there. You get, but
Yeah.
it's not like we want those things to happen. It's not like these are things we don't want to happen. It's like having a filling station, right? A petrol station. You're supposed to have, what do you call it now, fire extinguisher. You're supposed to have a fire insurance and many things in place. But it's not like you want the place to catch fire. You don't want fire to happen. But you're supposed to put those things in place such that, so that when there's fire, you're like, where's fire extinguisher? Oh, I didn't plan for fire to happen. And everybody's looking at you and like, young
Yeah.
man, are you all right?
Yep. Yeah. So it's all about being prepared for when life happens, because it will. Yeah. And that's what my goal is to help people find the income streams that they can't see because their blinders are on.
Yeah.
I just help them. I help them dig into their memory about the stuff that they know how to do.
Yeah, I want us to. It's a good thing that what you do is help people generate multiple streams of income. And for me, I'd love to ask you this question because I feel that it's one of those questions that I've been entertaining in my head even before this podcast episode. And having seen someone who's like an expert in that industry, I'd love to ask you this question. A lot of persons, with AI, with ChatGPT, with YouTube, with access to education and everything, they've seen the blueprints, right? It's not like, oh, this is like they've seen the blueprint, do this, do that, do this, right? And they know that this thing, they've seen testimonials of people from different cultures, from different countries that have done these things, right? It's not like, oh, it's one of this scheme where I pay money and do and I'm going to double the money. It's not one of those scams. It's like, oh, do this and do this, and people are giving testimonials, but they know that if they do these things, it will work, but yet they don't do it because probably it's not their job, right? Now you start to wonder that these people, they have the secret. You tell them do these things, but they don't do it. But if they were to have their job, let's say you employ them, say, okay, do this as the boss, they will take that thing, they will do it seriously. And then you start wondering what's going on here. Is it that
Yeah.
you what's happening? Is it that you prefer to work more than you prefer to work on yourself and work for yourself?
So there's a lot of things that come into a person's head when we're looking at how come they don't do the things that are necessary. You hit it before. They are comfortable enough. So there, like you said, good. There's a book called Good to Great,
Yeah,
and one
Jim
of the
Collins.
things that it talks about is good is the biggest.
Enemy.
What does it
Good is the
say?
enemy of great.
The biggest enemy of
Yeah,
greatness. And so they get into that comfort zone like you talking about, because getting out of your comfort zone is hard.
yeah,
Doing things that are required is
yeah.
hard. Putting yourself out there on YouTube is hard. you know and you're worried about people saying stuff. So I mean, even with me, so I launched a YouTube channel this week called Bart Merrell, the Side Hustle Samurai.
Ooh, wow. Oh, that's nice.
I am not Japanese. I am a white male American. I'm worried in my head. My head plays with me. Oh, you can't do that. You're not Japanese. But you got to be okay with it, because
Yeah,
people are going to say something.
yeah,
People are going to say, you're a white, gray haired Japanese man or American man. You're not a samurai. But you can't let that stuff get in your head. You have to overcome it.
yeah,
And that's hard to do.
yeah,
And so you have to get mindset trained. You have to listen to good things. I listen to a lot of Ed Milet and Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. I listen to those guys every night, and it just helps me get my mind right for the next day. I get up in the morning and I get my mind right so that I can defend myself against the negative talk, whether it's coming from my own head or whether it's coming from you.
Yeah. I think
And so you have to get your head right.
yeah. I think the strange thing I recently I've been thinking to myself, and I said, of all the rejections you would have, never be the one to reject yourself, because oftentimes, like you talk about the YouTube channel, even before people start talking, nobody has even said anything, and guess what? We are the one condemning ourselves. We are the one judging ourselves. We are the one being our own critic. And I'm like, that's not our job. Our job, we should leave critics for those who are critics. Let them criticize. That's their job. Our job is not to criticize. Our job is to
Yeah.
do the stuff. And yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
persons are their own biggest enemy, their own biggest critic, their own biggest judge. Even before people start talking, they have ridiculed themselves and tell themselves that I can't make it. There's no odds for me. What am I doing having a YouTube channel? The YouTube channel is not for me. Yeah,
And so it's tough. And so you got to be willing to take that first step. Do you want to hear another story?
yeah, please.
Crazy story. So I took the first commercial bungee jump to Japan a long time ago. So back in the 1990s, probably before you were born. So I took this bungee jump to Japan, and it was on an 8-story tower. So 8 floors high, about 80 feet high. And I was sitting up there one day and I thought I had heard from people who had set up other towers that you could jump off the top of this tower without a bungee cord on and hit the stuntman airbag at the bottom. It's like the stuntman would jump into. And so I heard that you could do that, but I'd never seen it. And so I thought to myself, can I do that? So I walked over to the edge and I looked down and I'm like, no, I can't do that. But then I didn't let that go. I still wanted to hit that mat. And so I said, okay, I can connect a cord to my harness. I could jump and wait for the bouncing to stop. And then I could unhook from about 6 stories up instead of 8 and fall to the mat. And that's something that I thought I could do. I did it and I couldn't unhook. And so my buddy let me down. I went back up to this top and I started thinking again. And whenever you connect the bungee cord to a person, to your customer, it's a little nylon strap about a foot long, and it had a carabiner on the end. And I could take 2 of those straps and hook them together and then hook that to the bungee cord, and I would have 2 handles so that I could jump off without the bungee cord attached, just hanging on to my handles with my dear life. And I walked to the edge and I jumped. Now, obviously, everything was okay because I'm here, but I waited for the bouncing to stop and then I let go and I fell and hit the mat. And it was awesome. It was great. The point of the story is it was scary.
Yeah.
That was one of the scariest things I've ever done because I didn't know if I could hold on. I thought I could. I had felt the pressure hundreds and hundreds of times when I jumped the normal way. So I was pretty sure I could, but I didn't know for sure. But I did it anyway. And that's part of being an entrepreneur. You got to step out there, take that first jump, even if you don't know what the outcome is going to be. I don't know if my YouTube channel is going to be great. It's going to be great for me. It's going to help me grow. I'm going to get better at speaking. I'm going to get better with the camera. I'm going to get better as I put more content out. It's going to be good for me, whether it's good for everybody else or not.
Yeah. Well,
And so you just got to find that courage to take that first step, even if you don't know what the outcome is going to be.
yeah.
And that would get you past that you're talking about. You have to be willing to do that. How do you do that? You got to break through that fear. You got to, I'm going to go back to the beginning. Let your fears push you. Think about what happens if you don't. What's your life going to be like a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What's it going to be like if something happens and you can't work? What's it going to be like if you lose that job? In America right now, people are starting to lose jobs a little bit. What if you lose that job? What are you going to do? And so use that in your head. Put that in your head. Get that fear. What am I going to do? Well, what are you going to do if you lose your house? Let me tell you something else. When I found out I was going to have my leg cut off, from the time I found out till the time the surgery happened was about 6 months. In that time, I said to myself, okay, I don't like this. I don't want it to happen, but it's going to happen. So I thought to myself, how can I monetize it? How can I make money off of my leg? 6 months after my surgery, I contracted with my prosthetist, the guy that makes my leg, and I help people who are going through what it is I went through psychologically. I help them with the problems that come up, whether it's psychologically or physically on your leg or on your physical therapy. I get paid to help other people go through what I went through. If I hadn't have been thinking about that from 6 months before my surgery, when the opportunity came up, I wouldn't have been thinking about it and I wouldn't have taken action. You know, Seneca says, what is luck? It's when opportunity and preparedness meet. But then you also have to take action. Opportunity and preparedness meet. If you don't do something about it, nothing happens. And so when the opportunity came, I made it happen. And now I get a side hustle because of my leg. And so just thinking about what you went through, what you've gone through, what do you know? Like I said, I tell people, think about what do you like to do? What do you need to do? What are you already doing? Can you monetize 1, 2, maybe 3 of those things? Let's take it one step further. What do you want to learn? What do you need to learn? What have you already learned that you can teach other people and get paid to do? I didn't want to learn how to navigate my situation. I needed to do that, and now I teach people how to do it.
Thank you, so.
My wife speaks perfect Japanese. She could do a Japanese conversation class here in America because she already knows how to speak Japanese perfectly. If I were in Japan, it's the opposite. I could do an English conversation class because I know how to speak English. Well, not perfectly, but like a Utah guy. And I could do that and teach people how to have a conversation. There's just so many things that if you play the guitar, I would love to learn how to play the guitar. I could learn how to play the guitar, and then I could teach people how to play the guitar. And some people get in their head and they say, oh, but I'm not good enough. I don't speak English good enough. I don't play a guitar good enough to teach people. But to a first grader, a third grader is an expert. To a third grader, a sixth grader is an expert. So you can start, and then to a sixth grader, a 12th grader is an expert. You can start here and teach the first graders. You don't have to teach the sixth graders. That's not your game. That's not in your wheelhouse. Start here, and then as you grow, you're going to teach higher level people.
Well, thank you so much, Bart, for sharing your story. It grieves me that we have to round up the episode because our time we are 4 minutes over the allocated time for the episode.
Okay.
Finally, where can listeners learn more about you? I know some of them are interested. I want to know. Of course, I have so many skills. I know these things. I learned this. I learned this. I learned this. I should be getting streams, rivers of income. Where can they learn more about you and check out what you do and how can they take the next step?
So the YouTube channel is Bart Merrell, the Side Hustle Samurai.
Okay.
You can find me there. I'm on Facebook under Bart Merrell as well. Also, my website is bartmerrell.com. On my website, there's a free giveaway that is the 25 successful side hustles for 2025. And it's a list I've put together, and there's actually, let me tell you a secret, there's more than 25 side hustles in there. And it's just a memory jogger to help you think about, oh, shoot, I know that. It just helps you think and helps you get in your head. This comes naturally to me. I'm trying to help people think like I do, to where something crosses their mind and they say, oh, can I monetize that? I'm going to have my leg chopped off. I wonder if I can monetize that. It just helps them think. So my dog training, why am I a dog trainer? Because I adopted a Rottweiler that was 8 months old, 90 pounds, and it did not know the word no. So instead of paying someone to train my dog, I went to school and learned how to train dogs to train my dog. and made a business out of it. So just that 25 for 25 is just to help you start to think about, oh, there's so many opportunities. Which one do I pick?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you pick the ones you like the best.
Yeah.
But that's where people can find me. And that list is for free. So just go into my website. You can also find it at offer1.bartmerrell.com/25 for 25.
Yeah. I'll put all the links to he mentioned in the show notes, and you can check it out there. Once again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and for sharing your story. And it was a pretty relaxed conversation. And thank you so much for making it possible.
Thank you for having me. It was fun to talk to you.
Thanks for listening to Relatable Wisdom. If you found something meaningful in this episode, make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that by buying me a coffee. The link is in the show notes. Every little bit keeps the conversations going. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep growing.